Now, for 60 years, talented children from all over the world have found themselves in East Sussex. A special establishment there has been dedicated to helping deprived kids reach their full potential. But now the residential home is about to close, as Ellie Crizell reports.
This is the English offshoot of that famous children's village in Switzerland, Pestalozzi.
That was the ante-room to reception.
And here, on the brow of a hill outside Battle in Sussex, Sir Hugh Casson has designed the world's second village for children.
Arriving here, it was just a sort of a feeling of wonderment, really, and somehow I'd gone to heaven.
This is Pestalozzi International Village Trust in Sedlescombe, East Sussex. It's been housing children to educate them for 60 years. BBC's Panorama programme came to film here at Christmas time in 1960.
There's one place at any rate, and I found it in the rolling countryside of East Sussex, where Christmas this year is coming as Christmas should.
Pestalozzi was set up in East Sussex by Dr. Henry Alexander, a German refugee, and Mary Buchanan, a British sociologist. The idea was to help children who'd been orphaned during the Second World War or those whose families couldn't look after them.
These are some of the very first children who called this home.
Well, but sadly, no rose garden.
William Idux was found in a refugee camp before he was brought here to Sussex.
Look at the view that I had out onto the countryside, all for a 16-year-old. Not bad.
In Germany, he'd been living hand to mouth for 2 years all alone after his mother died when he was just 7.
Within 24 hours of living in the kind of place that we were living in, you know, where the water was 50 yards away, in the winter it's frozen, no heating, no food, people fighting, killing each other, people committing suicide, all that sort of thing. Came away from that within 24 hours, you end up in a manor house.
I think that's me, isn't it?
No, that's not me. That's not me.
These ex-pests, as they call themselves, remember Panorama's television crew coming to film them all those years ago.
This place and these buildings must be school for part of the day and home for the rest of it.
Oh, the Christmas tree.
Yeah.
Miraculously,
Oh,
it appeared at the Cedarwood house.
Yeah.
By that stage, I don't think it had any branches or any greenery left on it. It was all on the drive where we'd been dragging it.
Yeah.
Len was one of the only British Pestalozzi residents, taken in because his single mother asked for support. He was the second child brought here in 1959.
What is it like walking through those gates?
It's a very emotional experience. It is, driving through the front gate is really like going back into my childhood and seeing the landscape and remembering it pretty much as it was. It's quite an intense experience.
Vladimir and Sonia were both born in refugee camps in Germany and put in touch with Pestalozzi by a local charity. Vladimir is the caroller on the left here in the Panorama report. He'd never heard of Great Britain before he was brought here.
It was like a big adventure, really.
It was. I just couldn't believe it.
And to see a garden.
A garden, yeah.
You know, with rose bushes.
Yeah. We had to grow our radishes, the first thing we ever grew, yeah. I suddenly had these new brothers and sisters back in England with this fantastic life where we get square meals every day, parents look after us, a lovely school. We were never alone. We had each other.
The Pestalozzi charity was named after a Swiss 18th century educational reformer, Johann Heinrich Pestalozzi. He believed that rich and poor alike deserved to be well educated. His approach was holistic, learning by head, hand and heart. Pestalozzi has evolved over the years from the children's home Richard Dimbleby visited to a place where exceptional kids from some of the world's poorest places are invited to live while they go to school locally to do A-levels. They're then encouraged to take their experience back to help communities in their own countries.
Studying hard.
This is one of the most pivotal platforms that has just allowed us to see this wide, kaleidoscope of cultures, and I think that's very rewarding.
We have some students downstairs who were here 60 years ago. They feel really emotionally connected to Pestalozzi.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that too? Can you understand that feeling?
I totally do understand the feeling. You know, Pestalozzi is more like a home now. You connect with everyone and everyone understands you because we almost have like a similar background. You are not judged for your thoughts. It's like you're allowed to do anything. It almost feels like it's a second home to me, Pestalozzi.
However, these Pestalozzi pupils are actually the very last residents. And they're so happy to be meeting the first. Pestalozzi's 60-year history at this beautiful 170-acre slice of East Sussex is coming to an end. The site is being sold. But it's not the end of the charity. They're going to keep offering support to students for better education.
Unfortunately, the view doesn't pay the bills, so we have to find other ways to continue to deliver our work. And the only way that we can do that at the moment is to sell the estate and to invest that money into the education of more young people.
The news it's closing is a blow for Len and Will.
Would you use the word magic about Pestalozzi?
Absolutely.
Yeah, no question. Yeah, and some of it is indescribable. There's no logic to it, but the strength of the connections that have been made are enduring. The two founders, Dr. Alexander and Mrs. Mary Buchanan, my second son, my young son, his second name is Alex.
After him.
Yeah.
1 week to Christmas.
I wonder if Richard Dimbleby sensed back in 1960 just how enduring the Pestalozzi bond would be for these people and how many more children would be given the chance to experience some of that magic.